guys, I am Michaela Dice. I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us here on my podcast, Because You Belong Here. The purpose of this podcast is to talk about testimonies. I am a firm believer that your testimony should be someone else's prophecy. So we will be talking with some of my friends and family and people that I love about things that God has done in their lives, and I will be sharing different things about things that God has spoken to my heart and things that I've experienced through Him and His Word. And so I just wanted to tell you, grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and come hang out with us as we go deep, discovering the ways that God has proven His love in tangible ways. I am so excited you're here. All right, friends, we're back, and I am here with my friend Joseph. We met in Honduras. He is a missionary at the Dream Center and City Hope Honduras, and he is just such a joy, and I'm so excited for you guys to meet him. So Joseph, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Thank you. Like you said, my name's Joseph. I am currently in San Pedro Sula, Honduras. So I was called here maybe about a year and a half ago, but I've been coming like on and off. But right now I just entered a season of full-time ministry, full-time missionary here, committed myself, packed up all my belongings, moved here, and been here this season. This is only my second week back. So it's still fresh, but it does feel like home. Yeah, we had the privilege of meeting last year when your church came down for a missions week.
Yes.
And that was awesome. Like it was your whole church, like the connection was just there. It was such a good week. And I was just thinking when I was praying beforehand, I was like, God is so funny. Like we met about a year ago and now here we are, like me, like talking again. And it's like he knew that day when you guys came, like they're gonna do a podcast one day. And like that, those thoughts always get me like giggly. I'm like, God, you're funny. How we intertwine and how you plan things out.
Yes, I love the way that he weaves stories together, and then like there's no way that we could say, "Oh, hey, we did this."
Right.
You know, that's my favorite part is when it's like, "It was God." That's it.
No, I mean, and you're a big part of like one of those people really pushing me to God used to confirm like my calling here. And even I remember you DM was like, I would love to sit down and meet with you, but once you commit to Honduras. It was like once you figure yourself out, then we could talk. And it was God being like, I told like everyone sees it but you, boy.
We
So
all do.
but I'm starting to. It's weird of after like years and years of not acknowledging gifts or talents within myself to really receive that from people. Cause I'm like, I don't know what you're seeing. Like you guys are saying called, I'm just doing me.
Yeah.
I'm just existing. So it was so hard to be like, wait, it feels that way because these are gifts planted in me to do this. So that's why it feels so like second nature, but they are talent. It isn't just at random.
That's so true. It's so crazy how like whenever you're just living life and you don't have the confidence in who you are, but you do, and you're like, I'm just doing this, and then someone calls it out of you, and you
Right.
realize like, oh, that's actually what this is.
Yeah.
How do I actually step into this and know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Right. Like it was again weird to accept, but I'm sorry. I mean, I remember even telling myself so many like prayers in my journal, be like, God, you made me with no talents. And like even everyone around me was like, your talent is with kids, it's with youth. And like again, finally accepting it and being like, okay, yeah, this is a talent. It's not just a coincidence. And once accepting that fully, like being like then I really start to see it flourish because it wasn't something that I was like, okay, God, fill me up.
Yes. Yeah, watching you is like magic, like the way that you interact and the energy that you bring and like all of the things about who you are whenever you're working in ministry is amazing.
Okay. But yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I know it's still hard to accept. People be like, bro, I see it, you flourish. Like we just had a team last week, and one thing that the pastors from this was a Alabama team, and one thing he kept saying was like joy and that like you're so happy. And I remember my mom would always describe me as a happy kid, and she always would be like, you lost. I don't know where you lost that. You were such a happy kid. So these pastors like confirming all week, like you're just so happy was like, oh my God, like God's like I'm that inner child, that stuff that's just me are finally like I'm allowing that to flourish here, which is it's incredible.
I love it. It's so good. So cool to get to witness that. Like, what an honor. I love it so much.
Thank you, thank you. No, it was an honor to serve with you. It's still good.
So, so good. I'm really sad I didn't get to go back in March, but you weren't even there.
You're right. So it was better.
So, that's fine. Fine.
Yeah. No, but that was your family's expanding, or it has expanded,
Yes, we are
which
due
is
in November.
okay, which is awesome.
So,
Crazy.
so crazy. I was literally just thinking about how crazy it is to think like, yeah, we're having another baby, but it was like more crazy to think about not having another one. So we were like, all right, Lord, what are we doing?
So cool. So cool.
Yeah. So baby number 5. Here we go.
5 and counting, or 5?
Probably just 5.
Like,
Most likely just 5. What the
oh,
Lord says, we never know, but that's where we
right. You'd
are.
be like, you know what? Let's go for the perfect number, 7.
I have such a hard time like calling things because I'm like, I want to say that this is it. Like, I feel like this is it. But then the Lord's always like, hey, remember when you said? That's not what I said. Like,
Right.
I have an end date, but
Right. Like it was like yeah, exactly. It was like, okay, I'm gonna be here for 6 months. And I like month 5, I think the realization of like, oh, if this is 5 out of 6 months, like, things should wind down and it should feel like my season's ending. But on the contrary, it was picking up. And then God was like, I never told you 6. Like you said that and we've been rolling with it, but like I never told you 6. Like I was like,
yeah.
oh, you're right. That was just me deciding.
Yeah, just being insecure about actually like following through on the whole thing forever.
Yeah. Baby steps, like half in, half out.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I want you to go ahead and start by telling us your testimony of how you ended up at the
Here,
Food
yeah.
Center.
It's crazy. So I mean, background quickly, like I grew up with a Christian family. My mom is a very, very faithful woman. My dad was always like mission pastors in whatever church we went to, or part of the missions team. So I wasn't a stranger to church, but God definitely didn't feel personal. It felt like this is scheduled of like
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday nights and Sunday mornings. This is what we do. We go to church and we do these things. Turning 18 or 19 right after COVID had opened up, I kind of got that cabin fever. Like I'm like, okay, I'm tired of being at home. I'm tired of being like in my same city. Like I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. And I went to study film and production in Florida, which at the time, like there was prayer behind it. But I remember the moment I landed in Florida, it was like left everything God behind. I'm gonna live for me now. Now, since I'm out of my parents' house, like no one's gonna force me. Like I'm gonna do me, and no one's really gonna stop that. So it was about 2 years of just like downward spiral. But at the moment, like I didn't think it was spiraling. I was like, this is freedom. Like this, I feel
Yeah.
alive. I get to be me completely. No one's stopping me. I could party as parties I want. Like, and not that I wasn't even back home, but it was like now I don't have to sneak around, right? Like now I don't have to paint an image of a Christian and live a double life. Now I could just live my worldly life. And I was there for 2 years, and really with no sign or progress towards God, or even thought. Like God was still in the back of my mind when I decided to come visit my sister, who was actually working here as a missionary. She was living in Boston. She came down for a mission trip, and she was here for about 2 years. And for me, that was a vacation. I love traveling. I've been to different countries, never been to Honduras before. So, hey, so it's like, let me go visit you. But I made it very clear to her, like, I am not going on a mission trip. I was like, I'm not oblivious. I'm not dumb. Like, I know what you're doing there. I know you feel called there. I know you're doing ministry, but I'm not going for that reason. I'm going to go to Roatan. I heard they got nice beaches. So I was like, I'm going for like vacation, pure vacation vibes, resorts. So I let her know, like, okay, what's a good week where there's no team because it's the summer, and that you'll be free, and we could I'll pay for our resort and we'll go to the beach. All right, she sends me a certain week, and she's like, okay, buy your ticket. Bought my ticket. Maybe a week goes by. She's like, hey, Joseph, actually, I messed up. I gave you a date where there's a team here. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll move my flight. I was like, I'm telling you, this is not my plan. There's no accidental mission trip happening here. I'm not going. So I moved my flight for like the next week, or like the next 2 weeks, or 2 weeks later. And the date comes, I take that week off of work. I was working like a very steady salary job in Florida. But the most money I was making at the time at 21. And it was just my week off vacation. So come to Honduras, meet her in San Pedro. I come to see, I see the Dream Center, I see the church, and I see like where you're working. I'm like, oh, cool, cool, cool. But like my first mission off the plane was finding a drug dealer. Like it was like, I'm on vacation, I need my weed. Like, so it was like from the airport, the first thing I did was get high, which is like now looking back, I'm like honestly impressive. Like honestly, like I'm impressed that I was just so adamant of like I'm gonna still do me no matter where I am. So I see what she's doing. We go to Roatan this vacation over the weekend, and I'm pure vacation vibes. Like it was, I wasn't serving, I wasn't thinking about God at all. But then came like this Sunday night, and we were on vacation, and that next Monday we'd come back, and that's when they broke the news to me of like, okay, Joseph, we know you weren't here for a mission trip, and you made that very clear. You didn't want to be here for a mission trip, but a mission team had missed their entire flight and had rescheduled for this week. And this has never happened in this City Hope Honduras history. People have missed their flight and have canceled, but no one, I mean, even logistically, to reschedule 16 underage youth to a whole nother week, all their flights, all their hotel, like, like there was a lot of logistics that had to come into play that make that really like essentially impossible to do. But God had different plans, and it happened. And they rescheduled for that week. I was like, okay, God, like this is I actually did everything possible to not be on a mission trip, but I'm already here. I guess I have to suck it up. I guess I have to do it. So we come back to San Pedro from Roatan that Monday, and the team comes, and my sister was heavily involved. Like she is super energetic, super hyped. Like she's like their front facing person. So she was doing her thing, and I'll just stand in the back, just watching. Like I was like adamant of like, I am not gonna serve. I am not gonna serve. And then throughout these couple days, it was a little funny because looking back, I was like, you were serving, but it was like with the wrong heart, but it was like, you don't even know English. I'm just translate for you. Like it was like, okay, like oh my God, like I don't, instead of translating, I'll just serve the food. Just go. I'll just serve the food. Like it was like this accidental, almost like angry serving that I started doing. I was like, okay. And my flight was actually for that middle of the week. So that mission trip was like Monday through Monday, and I would have left on Wednesday. So that Wednesday, with every team, every night, we do like the debrief. We sit around, we talk about the highlight of the day. And since I was supposed to leave, Pastora opened the floor to me and was like, hey, like, since you're leaving, like, do you want to share like your experience? Did you like it? And I'm like, yeah, it was cool. Like, nothing had happened. I'm like, it was cool. Like, watching young people. So I remember when I loved the Lord like that. Like, I remember when I was like that at that age, at that young age of 17. Like, I was only 21, but I was like, oh, you're so cute. Like, I remember those days. And then like word vomit. And I don't remember ever thinking these words, but it just fell out of my mouth. But maybe who knows, I'll stay. And like I sat back, Deborah, the youth pastor's wife from across the room, like gives me like a side eye of like, what? Like what? Like, everyone's like, what did he just say? And I'm even like, I don't know. I like, maybe I was being funny. I'm like, maybe the joke didn't land. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure where that came from. So
how can I put those words back in my mouth?
Yeah, like it was just like, but who knows what I said? And I was like, no way. Why did I just say that? Debrief ends, and they sit me down by the pool, and they're like, do you want to stay? And I was like, I don't know. And we just started talking it out a little bit. And my conclusion was, okay, I'll stay. I'll move my flight. And I had to call my manager, like, hey, I'll send you the schedule from out here, but I'm gonna be a couple more days. And I'll stay till that Sunday with the team. And my deal with God at that point, subconsciously, I didn't even pray it out, was just like in my heart, I like told God, if you don't do anything in these next 4 days, I'm never gonna try this again. I'm never gonna search for you. I'm never going to step foot in a church. Like that was my heart was. It was like, I'm going back to Florida, and I'm going to go even harder in like the world. Even like, and it would like, it's such a like looking back, I'm like, I can't believe I was thinking like that. But it was like, I gotta like do something, or you lost me. You lost me entirely. So then I stayed. These next few days are the same as the first few days. I'm like, nothing's happening. I think I come from a very Pentecostal background. So almost subconsciously, I'm like, if I'm not crying, shaking, or jumping, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
So to me, nothing was happening. I was just like, okay, I'm just here. I'm just here with the team and whatever. And come that Saturday, it was the free day with the team. We go out to like a lake, and I'm just start processing the week a little bit. And I start thinking of like what seems like little things, but I know were big things to me. And it was, oh, I've been eating 3 meals a day. I was like, that hasn't happened for 3+ years. Like I remember in Florida for 2 years consistently, I would get out of work at like 11:30 midnight. I would go to Wendy's. I would buy a 4 for $4, only eat the nuggets and the fries, throw away the sandwich, throw away the drink. And that would be my entire day's of meal. I wouldn't eat all day. I'll have a coffee in the morning, and that would be my 4 nuggets, a small fry. That's it. And that would be like hard to swallow. Like that would be like, oh, I'm stuffed. Like this is so much food. So the realization of like, oh, I've been eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and eating and not throwing up, not being nauseous. And I didn't credit it to God. I was like, interesting. Like interesting. That's weird. I started thinking about just sleep. It was like, oh, I've also been sleeping every night. Like for years, I would fall asleep with a joint in my hand or a blunt in my hand. Like there was no scenario where I would go to sleep sober. On the contrary, like I was putting myself to sleep. There was no like, okay, it's time to sleep. It was like, no, I'm gonna keep smoking until I just fall into sleep. So realizing that too, I'm like, oh, I've been sleeping, I've been eating, and I haven't been smoking. And that was like, bro, one day in Florida, not smoking, and I'm bugging out. I'm like, I remember it could be 3 in the morning, and I couldn't close my eyes knowing if like I had no weed. Like even if I wasn't gonna smoke, it was like I need to go pick up some, because what if I wake up at 5 in the morning and want to? What if I wake up in the middle of the night and I need to smoke? Like I need to know that is there. So like there was no scenario of not smoking for a day. So here it was like, oh, I've gone like 6 days. I haven't smoked. I've been eating. I've been sleeping. This is interesting. Honestly, the worldly me would probably be like, oh, when I go back, it's about to hit. Like, like it wasn't nothing spiritual was happening. Like in my head, I wasn't thinking spiritually. I was just thinking like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's nice.
Yeah.
And then comes Sunday night, and we're having this last debrief with the strong ministry moment. And Pastora, like, and it was a good week. Again, I wasn't convinced. Like, like God didn't convince me of anything. I was like, yep, like this is what I thought. My week's gonna end. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do me. Like exactly what I thought. Like, sure, I ate some more. Oh well. Like
I
nothing,
ate some more.
like nothing happened. But when she's closing up this moment, she grabs a chair, and everything goes blank. I remember I couldn't even hear her anymore. And all I knew was like, she's gonna ask me to sit in that chair. I don't know what she's about to do with this chair. I've never been here before, but I knew she's about to call my name. I don't know why, but I know she's about to call. Like the spirit was just telling me, warning me, like she's gonna call your name. She moves this chair to the middle. She gets like this little plethora of like, okay, guys, so for today, like, want to go to a ministry moment, and we're gonna have Joseph come sit here, and we're all gonna lay hands on him. And I was like, what? Like, I was like, how did I know? I don't know how I knew. But it was like, whoa. But like, it's in front of everybody, there's not space for me to be like, no. I was like, okay. I sit in this chair. The people lay hands on me. I start crying. Like the moment's beautiful, but I get still not convinced. I'm still like, emotions are emotions. Like I could, like, I can make myself cry. Like who knows? Like maybe that was my subconscious. Like I was not convinced. And then she stops everybody. And she goes, stop. She stops someone mid-prayer. And she shares the scripture, which I wish I could remember. I know it's in Matthew, but every time I ask her, she goes, I don't even remember saying that. I'm like, oh, I'm like, I want to know what scripture was. But she shares the scripture, and what she says is, Joseph needs the men to stand up and give him a hug. Me and her had not had one conversation this week. So there was no way for her to know that I have been from years. Well, the big thing that led me away from God was I had been praying for like a male mentor in the church, and I found one, and then he abused me. And then my one uncle I had, he got into a homosexual relationship with like cheated on my aunt with a man, and then like some memories came up of like, oh, you've also done weird things to me. I wasn't close to my dad growing up. I have no brothers. I never had a guy best friend. Like always around women. I only have sisters. So she has no idea. She has no context to me.
Yeah.
And to say that was just like, whoa, was like this, like that was for me, that was the God moment. That was the like, hello, I'm calling you. Hello, like it was again something I had prayed so deeply before years prior, like years prior to this, whatever before moving to Florida. What I've been praying for was this, was brothers in Christ, was men mentors, was a good pastor. The people in my life that were mostly spiritual, or in my upbringing, the people that I looked at like, oh, you're strong in the faith, were my grandmother, my mom, and my aunt. Like just the women. Like I didn't really have that example of a strong man in the faith. My dad did go to church, but at home he was so disciplinary that that's what I saw him as. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you're just the authoritarian of the house. You're not, I didn't classify him growing up as a godly man. Now I do. Now I feel like he's changed so much. But at that season, it was like you were just the guy who gets me in trouble, and my mom was the prayer.
Yeah.
And so again, that little phrase to like have the men hug you was, oh, God sees me. And I remember thinking, if he read that page in my journal, this journal from 3 years ago, then he has read every page before that, every page since that. It just became like tangible, and it made like you right. We know God knows everything, God hears you, but that was like, oh, you hear me. Like you don't just say you hear me, but like you genuinely do, because I had given up on this prayer completely. I have given up entirely on like, yo, that's not for me. That's not, I guess I'm not gonna have godly relationships. I'm not gonna have men to guide me. I'm not gonna have a like that Jonathan David friendship. Like that's just not for me. So to have given up on that and felt like so distant from that prayer, and God to bring that back up and be like, I heard you when you prayed that. Like
Yeah.
it was insane. So then that's when I was like, everything started to make sense. The eating, the sleeping. I was like, oh, that was all God too. That wasn't just coincidence of like, oh no, like I'm just so busy, I'm eating now. Like, no, like that was God's slowly, like giving me almost tangible thing. I think he knew that if it was solely emotional, I would have written it off of like, oh, I'm being emotional. I'm being emotional. I'm being like, I'm allowing myself to cry just to feel something. But it
Yeah.
being first, like again, tangible, logical thing, like you're eating, you're sleeping, you're not smoking, like these are all good things. And now here is an emotional moment. Like that's what made it like, oh, this is God. Like there's no way of twisting this. I can't convince myself this was me. This was God. And again, not a single sit down with Pastora before that. Like she had only known my name.
Yeah.
Like she had no clue, no hint of a clue of like that was it. Like that was so spot on. Um, so and after that, it wasn't an immediate like I'm gonna come here. I decided to stay another week. I was like, you know what? There's a Boston team coming, and I'm from Boston. So I was like, I'll stay.
Yeah.
I'll stay one more week with the Boston team. I knew one someone coming from my old church. So I was like, I'll get to see my friend. Like, I'll stay one more week. But then that week, compared to this first one, was so different. It was like I was serving, and I like, and again, not even realizing, but this time, like a lot more, like, yeah, I'll translate. Yeah, I'll serve food. Yeah. Oh, you need a game? I got a game. And I just started like really getting into it instantly. Like it was just like it came so naturally, and like I just started doing it. And that week was like so dope. Like so good. I was like, this is amazing. I love this. Again, I'm still not coming back. Like I still have a job, and I'm like, I have a good paying job. Like I'm surprised they've let me leave for like I'm on my third week of vacation now, and they're still cool with me staying. Like, like good. That's great. But I'm thinking, like, okay, this is what I needed. Like build myself up a little bit, and I'll go back to Florida and like be different. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Like this is awesome. And then the production team here kind of sits me down one day, and we're like, hey, like, you want to come back for 3 months? And I was like, interesting. Hadn't thought it, but again, it was a production team that approached me. What I went to school for was video and production. And my job in Florida had nothing to do with that. And that was a little strife I had with my job. Like I'd hit moments where I'm like, oh, I studied this and I'm here working at a family fun center. Like, this kind of like, but whatever, it's good money. This is like maybe this is steps I need to take. So then it was like God being like, hey, like you didn't go to that school for no reason. Like you looked at like like it's not a coincidence. It's not like you didn't go to school for no reason. Like come do this here now. And I was like, whoa,
Mhm.
like, I think I need to come back for these 3 months. Terrifying. That call to my boss. Because not only was he was my boss, but the COO of the company and also my landlord. So this was like a big thing of like, oh my gosh, like he could kick my stuff out right now. Like when I tell him this. So I call him and I'm like, God, take control of this conversation. And
Yeah.
he knew already. Not a Christian man, not a man of faith. And he knew. And he was like, you're gonna stay there, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, he was like, I had a feeling. We talked for a while, and he had been living with me, so he was like, you sound so happy. He's like, this is not the Joseph I know. Stay there. Like, so even that grace there, where it's like he had every right to be so angry at me. Like, you're my star manager. You went on vacation for a week, turned into 3, and now you're never coming back. Like he had every right to like flip out, but he had such a peace and a grace that it was only God to be like, good, just confirming, like, hey, like, I'm calling you to this, and don't worry, like, it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out.
Yeah.
So that's really how it started. And then I came here for 3 months. After the 3, I knew I was gonna come back. When the 3 months ended, I didn't cry. Like when I wasn't sad about leaving the kids, I was like, that's not a good sign. I'm like, that is not a good sign. It
It wasn't the
I'm like,
end.
right. I'm like, because it does not feel like a goodbye whatsoever. And like the kids are
Yeah.
crying. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm saying goodbye. Like, and I know that feeling, right? I know what it feels like to like leave a friend and be like, oh, it's gonna be a while till I see you. But I was like, I don't
Yeah.
have that. Like, I know I'm going to see you. So I think that means I'm coming back. And then that was 2023. That was October, November, December, my first 3 months internship. Last year, I came back in May, and that was for 6 months. And that was 6 months, right? That I say I decided. I thought it was God. Looking back, God was like, I never told you that. Like, but if my thought process was double it, I did 3, let's do 6. Like, really, that was my thought process. Like, it was like, okay, double. So I did 6. And I mean, those 6 compared to the 3 was such a drastic difference. Like, it
Yeah.
was, I remember I had a hard time those first 3 months because I was coming straight from the world. Like, yes, I had this foundation in Christ, but I was living in the world for 2 years. So it was like, me? You want me to pray? I could translate, but pray? What? Like, that there was
Yeah.
still some hesitation into like fully doing what I felt ministry was, right? I classify ministry as preaching and praying, but it was like, no, you've been doing ministry every day, but this is just a different type of ministry that we need to like practice on. So I remember last year, which is actually really interesting because it's May, I'm flying out, and I am praying heavily, like, okay, God, this time's gonna be different. Like, I want to pray for people. Because I think I really went those first 3 months. I don't think I prayed once over somebody. Yes, I prayed, but like one-on-one, like, let me pray for you. Like, I don't think I did that one time. Like, I think
Yeah.
one time I remember a kid came up to me and I redirected him to my sister. And I was like, here you go. Like, I was like, out of the 2, she's the prayer. I'm the hype. She's the prayer. Like, go to
Yeah.
her. Like,
I love it.
and so I'm like, okay, God, like this time it's gonna be different. I'm like, I'm accepting that this is what you want me to do. Let's do it. So we're on the plane. I'm in the middle seat, and as I'm praying this, like I'm in prayer, God goes, okay, then pray for the lady next to you. And I'm like, no, like, absolutely not. I'm like, you're crazy. So I put my headphones on, and like it's Christian music, but I could not sit still. Like my spirit was just like churning and churning, and I was like, take the music off. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna put the music back on. I was scrolling, and I was like, oh my God, like no, no, God, please, please, anything else, anything. I'm like, God, I want to pray. He's like, okay, pray. I'm like, whoa, anything but that though. Anything. Like it was such a funny back and forth I had, but the whole flight. The entire flight, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. And then they make the announcement that we're about to descend. And I'm like, I turn over, I look at her, and I'm like, hey, go like, bro, this is my last chance. This is my last, I'm like, let me just do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, how are you? Like, is there like just start a conversation? And what was interesting is that she was Chilean, so she only spoke Spanish. So also doing it in Spanish was funny because I'm like, God, you're funny. Like it was also practice doing it in Spanish. So we're talking in
Yeah.
Spanish. Come to find out, this was Mother's Day weekend, and her stepfather had just passed away, and she was on her way to tell her mom. Like her mom hadn't known yet,
Oh
and
no.
so she just starts like bawling her eyes out to me, and like one is which I'm like, whoa, right? Like God, like spot on, like she needs this. But still I'm like, I'm listening, like, wow. And I put my headphones right back on. Because I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I don't know because now it's like serious. Now it's not just like a prayer. Now it's like, oh, now there's something you need prayer for.
Right.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So I put my headphones on and I really feel like almost audible. I hear God being like, you're kidding. Like, you're kidding. Like, like you're gonna leave her. I remember feeling like you're gonna leave her with no hope. You're gonna leave her like she just opened herself to you and you're gonna leave her with no hope. I was like, oh, you're right. Took the headphones off. I look back, like she must have thought I was crazy. Like honestly, like this whole time, this whole flight, I'm like having this like inner
Off
dialogue.
and on, off and on,
Yeah.
off and on.
So and I go and I'm like, can I pray for you? And I'll never forget like the way she sat up and like yes and fell forward to me. Like and it was like, whoa, like this was what she wanted. Like this is precisely what she wanted was prayer. So I was able to pray for her on the flight. We're there, we're holding hands, we're praying, and then beautiful moment. And then I'm in the middle. Turned out the guy to my left was here, Dominican guy overheard everything, and then he prophesied over me after that. So it was this beautiful, beautiful moment on this flight where I was like,
Yeah.
well, like I'm asking for these opportunities, and you present it to me on the flight. Like not, I didn't even get to Honduras yet, and you're already showing out. It was like this is too cool. It was so cool. So last year again, it was so different. I was like super into it. Like I was ready. I was ready to pray. I was ready to minister. Ready to have ministry moments. Like give it my all. And then as the 5 month mark hit, I was like, okay, why doesn't it feel like goodbye again? Why aren't I getting sad? Like it's not. I should be feeling like, oh, I'm gonna miss y'all. Don't feel like that. It feels like I'm gonna miss home. Like as in the States, it feels like this is becoming home. And slowly just start talking to God. Okay, God, how long? How long? Like, okay, I'll come back. I hear you. I'll come back. But how long though? I'm like, cause I'm not just coming back. Like, So I was like, let's go with my same theory. We did 3, we doubled it to 6. Let's double it. Let's do a year. Like, and like, and again, me deciding, me being like, yeah. I'm hearing him. We're here. A year. And it was like my last week here before I went back home. And the way that different men from the church that I had never spoken to were coming up to me and saying things that like, how do you know that? And they weren't even saying it like God told me or that, like they were just saying like as a man, blah blah blah. So I remember one of them was, I remember writing in my journal, okay, God, I'm coming back for a year. I'll get a car. I'll do ministry for a year, and then I'll go back and focus on my career. I'm writing these journals out, and this one guy comes up to me, is like, as a man, like, how are you gonna move somewhere for a year and buy a car? Like, doesn't make sense, and walks away. And I was like, okay, like weird as a man, like okay, and this is important, right? Because of my history with men, it was like having men tell me, like, as a man, like you need to secure yourself somewhere. You need to decide. You need to do this. I remember something else I wrote in my journal was, okay, God, if I go back to Boston, am I just starting back from zero? And then another man from church was like, like as a man, how are you gonna go back to your parents' house and start from zero at 22? And I was like, what? And like they're saying these, I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? Like how are? And then I remember I got quiet, and then a lot of people around me started laughing. They're like, is God speaking to you? Like, because it was like through this random conversation with different men, they were confirming things, but they weren't like, Joseph, this is for you. It was a group of men, and they were just talking about men, and they were just confirming what God was trying to tell me of like, I'm calling you here to settle here and to live here for now. And what that looks like is,
so let's be a man about it.
let's be right, exactly. Let's be a man about it. Like, and even like to the words of like, I remember one of them was like, what woman is gonna want a man who can't decide where he's living? I'm like, honestly, yeah, like right, like that. What that looks I'm a 23-year-old, 22-year-old man. Like, what am I doing? Oh, I'm here for 3 months, here for 6 months, like no stability. It was like, we need stability. We need to work and stability. And I kind of like, panicked first. Like, it was not a quick acceptance. It was a panic because it was like, whoa, no, 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 no. This is not what I expected, God. Like, I was ready for a year, maybe two, but indefinite. Like, you're not going to tell me. That could mean 10. That could mean, Pastora Kim's story of like living here forever, like 20 plus. I'm like,
Forever.
right. I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? But I remember telling my sister, like, hey, like, I think this is what God's trying to tell me. And instantly, as we're talking about it, when I first say it out loud of like, I think God's calling me here indefinitely, like the chills down both of us, and we both just instantly start crying. And it was like, oh my gosh, God, like you are saying this, huh? But it was hard. It was a hard acceptance. I think what calmed me down was a word that my friend Simbi gave me of just confirmed me, like, no matter what you choose, even if you go back home, like, God's calling you here, his grace is going to be there. But even if you go back home, he's not going to depart from you. And that was like, gave me the space to decide, to be like, okay, right. Like, it's not that if I choose Boston, like I'm ruining my life. Like, like if I decide this is too scary, which it felt too scary in the moment, like going back home doesn't mean the end of the world. Like, God is still gonna be with you. He will still work with you. So then again, I gave that calm me down and allow me to be like, you know what? No, I do want to walk in his grace. Like, I do want to walk in his plan for me, even if it's scary. Because yes, I know he's with me, but like I also know I don't know what challenges I'm gonna face unnecessarily because I decide to go back to where I'm not supposed to be. And now here I am. I just got back like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And it's crazy because now it's like, now we're believing for a car, believing for an apartment, believing for this, that. I'm like, this is it. Like, if this is where you're going to plant me, God, like, we got to get settled. But it's crazy. Crazy.
I love it. Okay. So all of this and all the ways that God has moved, I want to rewind back to you being on the airplane.
Yeah.
Because there's so many times, so many stories. I mean, so many moments, right? Where you're like, I'm freaked out by this and I want to do the right thing, but also like, don't tell me to do that. And yet that was not a coincidence that you were sitting in between those two people in that moment, telling the Lord, I think I'm ready to start praying for people. And she is literally waiting for someone to hear from the Lord that she needs the Lord, like in that moment. And then the other guy overhearing everything because you also needed that word. Like, it just blows my mind the way that the Lord just works things together and you think, how did I get here? And then you replay all of the tiny little moments and it's like, this shouldn't be a surprise.
Right.
It's
how you work. It's so, like, let's say, like, like, I remember, I think it was a preacher out here that, like, he was, the phrase, the devil's in the details. It was like, actually, God's in the details. And it's like, 100%. Precisely, like, he is in, like, it's like, exactly, like, what do you mean in between these two while I'm giving this prayer? And again, it's not just like, oh, pray for this random person, but she's actively hurting. Like, she is actively going through something. And then the guy next to me being faith-based, being a Christian man, like, was like, whoa, like, it was so aligned. And I remember going on that flight. I felt like I felt your temptations right before, with like the nerves of like, oh, I'm about to be a missionary. Like, let me get out of my system. I think like that immaturity, but I did. And then I remember feeling like overwhelmed with guilt and shame of like, oh, God, like in the airport being like, I can't believe like the last week, my last couple of days, like I had a fall. Like, I couldn't hold down just a couple more days. Like I fell then. But then again, then that moment happening was God being like, you're good. Like, I'm still gonna use you. Like, just because you fell doesn't mean like, oh, well, now these 6 months are ruined because you want to mess up 2 days before leaving. Now you tainted this whole time. But it was like, nah, he like redeemed what I felt was like I ruined this trip coming up, and like on that plane, he's like, no, you didn't. Like again, like I already knew you were gonna do that. like you're forgiven, don't do it again. But here, let's press on. And it was incredible. Like I really like it's one of those things. I remember afterwards, like bumping into the lady at the airport, like more baggage claim, and she was like, "Oh, amigo," and I was like that was being like, wow, like God, like you are just how you love people,
Yeah.
like the way the same way that like the intentionality I felt being called here, right? Like you moved the team for me, essentially. Like you really like you made a whole team miss their flight, and come to find out, like the detail are the pilot never got there. The pilot just never showed up. And that's why they missed. That's what they had to get rescheduled for. So I'm like, so you made a pilot like miss a day of work, and that there was no
Yeah.
other pilot to cover him. To like the intentionality to make sure I got to hear from you. To the same thing to make sure that my flight coming back landed with this woman who also needed to hear from you to sit next to me. Like it was like again seeing how God like really moved things around. Like it's not just like oh it just happened. It's like whoa no this is chess, right? Like this is strategic.
100%.
And I think that
Yeah.
I'm to me, the prettiest thing about God is that, like being able to look at the detail and be like, okay, coincidences aren't coincidences half the
Yeah.
time. They tend to be the Holy Spirit doing his thing, God doing his thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so amazing. I
So,
just
so
love it.
good.
That's my favorite part about doing these interviews is like hearing all of the tiny details of stories because you can like be in passing or even like on the bus where we talked about some of your story and you're like
Right,
sharing kind of like the big chunky pieces, and like this is kind of what led me here. But then to sit and actually like talk about those details because I feel like so many
right,
people feel like they're drowning every day trying to figure out like what is it that the Lord wants me to do, or am I doing the right thing? Am I screwing up my kids? Am I, like all of the stories and all the conversations, whenever you could just sit and like just think about those tiny moments that actually, like you said, whenever when you realized you'd been eating, like that might seem like a small thing, but then you turn around and you're like, hold on. That was like the biggest moment was something that nobody would even notice except for me.
right. I mean, even like I always say, like, how many men like you would tell them like, oh, the men give you a hug, and they'd be like, okay, like like that's a simple thing, like a man give him a hug. But it was like for me, it was
Yeah.
like you don't know the last time I've had a guy hug me. You don't understand like the last time I had a godly man. And then godly men also my age, like youth, 18, 19-year-olds. Like that never happened. Like, so it was like, whoa, like you again, what seems so little. And I imagine everyone was like, he's crying a lot for a hug. Like, like I can imagine them being like, that word wasn't even that crazy, like it wasn't like God has this plan for you. It was like a hug. That's all you gave him, and he's bawling his eyes
Right.
out. But it was like, but to me, that was everything. That was, oh, you are so intentional, God. Oh, you're
Yeah.
so present. Again, you hear everything. You read every page. And even the stress of like all the other things that I felt like I was praying for that I never heard back about, that kind of pushed me from God. Like it gave me the face to be like, oh no, he heard those. He heard those. I don't have the answer
Yeah.
yet, but I'm not worried if he heard them or not. They're there. Like he has them, because if he heard this one again that I stopped praying for, like he's heard all of them. So I'm not stressed about it. I'm not worried about it. He got it. And I feel like I'm still there, right? There's still some stuff where I'm like, I don't really know why these things happen, but like God, I'm trusting. Like I know you know that I don't know, and I'm trusting that I just don't need to know right now. Like, and when the time
Yeah.
comes, it like maybe I'll get the revelation or maybe not. But like it's so much not about that. For so long, I felt like God owed me those days. Like I went through all these things. You owe me explanations. You owe me, like, if you want me to serve you, convince me, because what about XYZ? Come on. So like finally to be
Yeah.
in a place where it's like, oh no, I don't care about XYZ. I'm serving you not because of anything that happened to me. It's just because you're just so good. Like it's incredible. It's been a journey. It's been a journey to think that like a year and a half, 2 years ago wasn't Christian, and now I'm full-time missionary. Like
So wild.
I'm like, why I always think why me? Like, and then why me and me at my lowest? But I mean that's so biblical, right? To be like I'm gonna pick the fool to shame the wise. And it was that, like, you picked me at the worst. At like I
Yeah.
looked like a junkie. Like the way I was doing drugs, the way I was smoking, the way I wasn't eating, just thin and malnourished. Like I looked the worst I ever had. And you're like, perfect now. And I was like, what?
This is the moment.
Right. I'm like, what? Like, what about when I was 17 and I felt on fire for the Lord? You know, like it was like,
Right.
no, like because that wasn't genuine. That was there was a masquerade behind that still. It was like now your worship's real. Because now you know you can't do it without me. Like, you know, you thought you
Well, you
could.
know the real power of redemption, and that
Oh,
is like that grace and that cleansing and the renewing of your mind. Like it just takes on a whole new meaning after that.
oh my God, completely.
And you can
Completely.
minister to people in such a more powerful way because you understand how grace saved a wretch like me, you know?
Oh my gosh, like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, my last Sunday in Boston, Pastora Kim and Pastor Pablo actually went over there to
Oh,
preach.
I saw that.
So it was like a perfect like closing of a season because then like
Yeah.
Cindy was there, my sister, like all the past Honduran missionaries, and we're like, oh, we all wore our City Hope shirts. Like it was such an awesome moment. But I remember during that ministry time, they're going like Pastora goes into a prayer for people for like struggling with anxiety and depression. And it was the first time that I was like, I I'm not that anymore. Like, you know, I'm not raising my hand for that. Like
Yeah.
not that I don't understand that. Like I put through that for so many years, but now like the altar call for that doesn't resonate with me anymore because I'm not depressed. I don't have anxiety. I like it was like that was
Yeah.
such an awesome moment of that, right? Being like, oh, completely renewed. Like this old has died. That's no longer you in any way. You cannot like again, I couldn't lift my like raise your hand if you're struggling with this. I was like, I can't like, and it was right. I was almost accustomed to like hearing like, oh, if you're depressed, yeah. If you have anxiety, yeah. But to realize like, oh, that's not me anymore. Like
Yeah.
I, I don't relate to him anymore. It's that was a really cool moment. And again, it being the last Sunday, them there, and it was like, oh God, you're so good. And then I was like, okay, I'll see you guys in a couple days. And then like 2 days later, we're all back in Honduras. It was awesome.
Yeah. Just another moment where it's like, oh, that was not a coincidence,
Yeah.
you know? I love
So
it.
good.
Well, did you have like a verse or anything that you wanted to share that kind of made you, I don't know, realize how God is in the details or realize anything like,
Yeah, so actually, I honestly think God had us postpone from our last original date because of my experience last week that I wanted to share about.
yeah,
So the verse is Luke 6:38, and it's really that beginning of the verse, the give and it will be given to you. So I get here, and in January, late January, my grandma passed away, and it's been the hardest death for me, the closest. It hit different. It was like my first time experiencing grief to this level. And I think being back home with my mom, like I had okay, I've got to be strong for my mom. Like I'm not gonna, if I cry, she's gonna start crying. Like, so it's like I didn't really start grieving till I got here. And I didn't expect that. But I get here and remember the first day, they're like, okay, Joseph, you're leading the widows, which is like the ancianas, the elders.
they're
And
the
I
sweetest.
the sweetest, but it was like I was like, yeah, awesome. I get in the Uber to go there and it hits me. Like I'm about to be in a room with a whole bunch of older women. I'm not ready for that. Like, like it was like in the Uber's looking back at me because I'm in like I'm like crying in the Uber and Uber's like, okay. Because it's early in the morning, nothing's happened. Like it just came out of nowhere. It was like that realization of like, oh, whoa, wait. My first time doing ministry back here is gonna be with these older women. It's gonna be interesting, it's gonna be difficult. But I go, um, and again, I'm doing it while feeling kind of empty, kind of being like, this is hard. But okay, I'll do it. And then I do that, and then right after that was a staff meeting, they're like, oh, Joseph, did a ministry time for this too. And I'm like, okay. Like, like this is, I already feel like I already have very little, but okay. And as the days go by, like it is just test after test of like, okay, Joseph, lead this ministry moment. Oh, Joseph, lead this. We went to what we call it Doña Fernanda, but we all call her abuela here, and because she had been sick. That was another one, like going into giving someone a hug and calling them abuela. Like I never thought I was gonna do that again. Like
Yeah.
that was like oh my God. And then right after that, it was Kids Chapel. Okay, Joseph, lead Kids Chapel. Like, so it was like these moments of like, okay, I'm just gonna give. I'm in positions where I'm having to serve a little extra for something. I was like, this is like feels like a lot right now, but okay, just gonna keep going, gonna keep going. And then Friday came, and Pastor Deborah, Hes's wife, the youth pastor, like she gave a word about discouragement, and she used this verse, and then it hit me of like that is what was been happening this week because I couldn't understand it. Like as the week was going by, I kept even talking to Hester, being like, "Hey, like I'm not feeling it. Like you know, like I feel like I have not even not feeling it. I feel like I have nothing. And but I'm gonna do it. Like you're asking me to do it, and I'm gonna do it. But I'm like, hey, like this is, you know, I feel like I'm pulling out of like the reserve, and like it's like I don't have anything else. But then after I do it, where I'm like, okay, thank you God, we did it. It'll be okay now, Joseph, do this, and I'll be like, okay, back into the reserve. But then she shared this verse, and I was like, oh, this is what's been happening this week. Like God has been so faithful in give and it will be given to you. Like you feel
Yeah.
empty. And this is not like again, not talking financially, but in strength and peace. And like you're giving, I'll give to you. Don't worry. And
Like
like
the fishes
it,
and the loaves.
yeah. And like step by step, it was like every time I just felt I empty, it'd be like, okay, I feel empty. You'd be like, okay, now do this. Now I'm minister in this way. Okay. And then like I had just enough for that. And I'm like, okay, keep going. Okay, God, I feel empty. No, but I need you ever like he didn't allow me to soak in my grief. Like I feel like he allowed me to grieve for sure. And I had those moments where like I was like comforting me in grief, but then it'll be like, okay, you had your 30 minutes. Now I need you to lead the game. Like, okay, and like turn it on, like right. The fan is not it's not being fake, right? Like it's like no, there is the joy of working with kids. There is this joy even with the older lady. Like it's fun. It's like although grief is pulling me out a little bit, I was like, okay, but because you're giving, I'm gonna give you the strength you need. I'm gonna give you that peace you need. Um, so
Okay.
yeah, like, I feel like it's funny that our schedule got moved, our meeting, because that happened last week. And right away, I thought about your last prompt of like, oh my gosh, yeah, because this verse just became so, again, it was just like, that's what's happening. Yeah, that was this week. I couldn't put words to it. I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, I just feel like God's playing with me. I'm like, we're doing this game of
Yeah.
talking football. I was like, no, on the contrary, I was like, he had just been filling me up because I was still giving when maybe I didn't feel like it. Man, when my flesh was like, no, let's stop. It was like, no, we got to keep going for the Lord. And like he honored that. And I think that it was awesome. Like again, it became so tangible of like, you are just, you're gonna be true to that. You're never gonna, especially doing ministry full time. Like you are never gonna leave me here to rot. You're not gonna leave
Yeah.
me here to hit rock bottom and to suffer. And like this doesn't have to be like I feel like I've heard a lot of weird theology of some people who are like, you need to suffer. Like, and it's like, you know, it's, yeah, pick up your cross, but like suffer? What do you mean like suffer? Like go through hard times, sure. But it's like, I don't think I need to be like, again, dragging myself along. Like, because if it's God that gives me peace that surpasses understanding, if he gives me his strengths, like, then I should always have enough to be sustained. And so I think that was really what it is. It's like, wow, God, this is you sustaining me. And in a time that felt so hard, again, time of grief that felt so so that I needed so much of you. And then maybe I wasn't even praying the prayers I needed to for grief, but I was serving and he honored that. And it was awesome. And like I gave Deborah, I was like, you were spot on with that word. Like it was so good because now even this week like like it's things go awry or something, it's like not like nope, I'm not gonna move by emotion, like because that's what grief was, emotion. It's like no, I know that in doing what he's asking of me, he's gonna sustain me. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. That's so good. Oh my gosh. This has been so good.
I know.
Just
Like
sit
I'm like I
talking
don't want.
for
I'm looking
hours.
at the time. Like I don't want it to end.
I know you have a million things to do with graduation and all the things. So we will wrap this up for now. This will not be our last conversation on this
Oh,
podcast
absolutely
because
not.
this was fantastic. It's actually prompted me that I think I'm just going to reach out to the whole team and be like, hey, we need to do like a whole Dream Center series where I just interview everyone and just have like a whole thing because why not?
Why not? And all our stories are so different, right? How God has brought us here. And like again, it's like
Mhm.
similar calling, missions in Honduras, but it's like how we got here some of us 19, some of us 22, some of us in our 30s, some of us married, some of us single, some of us through a church, some people like me through a vacation. Like it is just like
So good.
the intertwining of everything. Like God, you're so interesting.
One of my favorite places, and I just love the way the Holy Spirit moves there. Like, so good.
Next year, you gotta come.
I know. I'm gonna bring my whole family. We're gonna bring the baby. We're gonna do like a whole family
Everybody.
trip.
Oh my
The whole
God.
thing. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you.